What's going on YouTube? CEO in the making, back with another video. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you how I do my taper. This is kind of an updated video from my previous taper video. So I got my Oster fast feeds, and before I get started, I'm going to spray them down with some Andy's Cool Care. It's a really good lubricant, just keeps your clippers lubricated, also disinfects and helps them stay cool and just in good condition overall. So start off, we're going to start with the number 1 guard. We're going to have the lever open and we're just going to be knocking down the hair. So this part is really easy. I'm basically just taking the clippers and going over my head the exact same way that I would brush or comb my hair. So you're just taking down the hair to the desired length. Like I said, I got that number 1 on there with the lever open and just going all over my head, trying to make sure I get it all down even to the length that I want it. Like I said, this part is the easy part. You just want to take your time, make sure you go over your head multiple times just to make sure you get everything all even. There's no rush. Like I said, the exact same way that you would brush or comb your hair, you're just doing that with the clippers. So you got to make sure that you're going in the right direction, especially when you're dealing with like the back and your crown area. That can get kind of tricky. So like I said, just take your time and make sure you're going in the right direction. So here you can see me just brushing the hair back in place before I go over it one last time, just to make sure I get some of that loose hair out of there. And then, like I said, I'll go over it again just to make sure I get everything all even. Alright, so now I'm going no guard with the lever closed. We're going to go ahead and start the taper process on the sideburn. So just going to go up to about the top of the ear, set that first guideline, brushing it back in place just to make sure the guideline is straight. So now I'm going to open that lever up and go slightly above that guideline that I just created to make that second guideline. You want to brush it back in place so you can make sure your guidelines are even. So now I got that number 1 guard, lever open, and I'm going to make another guideline, the third guideline. And you can see I'm just doing, short strokes. I don't want to take off too much hair. The thing about a taper is you're trying to, do a fade in a small area of your head. So you can't go too high every time you set these guidelines. So you just got to take your time. And like I said, do nice, short, steady strokes. So now I got the number 0 guard, and I'm gonna go ahead and close the lever, and I'm gonna start trying to blend out the middle line. So just taking my time, short strokes. That's really the name of the game when it comes to tapers and fades and all that jazz. So that's what you can see me doing here, brushing it back in place to kind of see what I'm working with, and still trying to blend it on out. So now for the first guideline, I've got the lever closed, and then I opened it just a little bit to try and blend out that bottom guideline. So it doesn't take much. You just slightly above the guideline to try and blend it out. So now I have the number 2 guard, lever open, and I'm just trying to ease that transition from the number 1 into the rest of the hair. just trying to help it blend a little bit better. And right here, I went ahead and threw the number 1 guard back on, and I'm just going with the grain, trying to once again just ease the transition of the taper. Again, I have the number 1 guard, just trying to clean up, a little bit to try and make it look as best as possible. Sometimes you will have to make customizations to the process just based on what you see. Sometimes you follow the steps to a T and something is still off, so you'll have to kind of customize it on the fly. So it just comes with practice and experience. So right here, I've started the exact same process on the other side. You guys can't really see too well, but I'm just doing the exact same thing, that I did on the first side. So right here, I'm starting the process in the back. So I got no guard with the lever closed, and I'm setting in that first guideline. I'm just going barely, into the hair. You don't have to go that high. The main thing is just making sure that the guideline is straight. So now I'm going to open the lever and then set in the second guideline. Again, the main thing is just making sure it's straight. So right now I got the number 1 guard with the lever open, and I'm setting in that third guideline. You can see me brushing it back in place, just trying to make sure it's straight, everything's even. So now I got the number 0 guard with the lever closed, and I'm just working on that middle line, trying to get that to blend on out. As you can tell, these are the exact same steps as I used on the sides of my hair, just applying it to the back. So right here, I was just kind of touching up with the number 1 guard with the lever open, just making sure I got as much hair off as I needed to make sure the blend comes out as evenly as possible. Now I got the number 0 guard again, just trying to work on the blend. I have the lever closed. So what you're gonna see me doing here, I'm kind of switching back and forth between the 0 and the number 1 guard. I eventually ended up having to close the lever with the number 1 guard just to kind of ease the blend a little bit. Like I said, you will have to kind of kind of customize these steps sometimes based on, you know, how it's turning out, you know, how the haircut is looking. So that's what I ended up doing here. You may not have this experience. You know, it really just depends once you start cutting. So right here, I'm working on blending out the very first guideline that I set. So I had I had no guard with the lever closed, and then I opened it just slightly to try and blend that line out. So as you can see, it didn't take too much for that to blend on out. And then right here, I had the number 1 guard lever open, and I'm just going with the grain, trying to smooth things out as much as possible. Again, this is kind of optional. So now I'm going to move on to the lineup. I got my Andy's T outliners, and I'm going to go ahead and start in the back. So that's what you'll see me doing here. So one small tip that I have, before I line up the front of my hair, I always wash my hair and lay it down with a do-rag, just to make sure everything's in place. There's no questions about, you know, what I'm cutting as I'm lining up my hairline. That's just a small tip, something that I do, that you don't necessarily have to do. It adds a little bit more time to the haircut, but for me, it helps. So that's something that, you know, you can kind of try if you want. It is optional. So that's what I did there. So the rest of the video is really just, you know, finishing up the lineup, which is, you know, it's not a whole lot for me to say about that. You guys can kind of just watch and see, you know, what I'm doing. So other than that, I'll make sure to leave the links in the description where you guys can pick up the tools that you see me using here. Make sure you check out my other videos. I have a lot of other helpful videos that can help you on your journey, you know, cutting your own hair. Any comments, questions, if you have any advice, any tips, you know, I'm not perfect at these haircuts. I really just make these to show people that you don't have to be scared to learn how to cut your own hair. I'm not a barber, you know, I just, you know, cut my own hair in the comfort of my home whenever I want. You know, that's really it. So like I said, even if you know, you might be better than I am. So if you have any advice or tips, feel free to leave that too. I'm open to everything. Also, if this video was helpful for you, make sure you hit that thumbs up button. Don't forget to subscribe. I'll definitely have more videos coming. It's CEO in the making, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.